So, where I left off in my last video was pretty much the start of it. And what persisted from there was when I come home from school, it wasn't to home. I went to my grandmother's, my grandfather's where they were staying at my aunt's place because she went to stay at her new boyfriend's, and it wasn't too far away. It was probably about a 20-minute walk at the time that it would take me and my dad to walk back to the place where we were staying. We'd never call it home. And we'd go have food there after school, and then um, we'd go back later. There wasn't really any talking after that. And so it came out. The thing is, after that point, because I've been trying to kind of not think about it so much, I kind of remember the latest stuff. So the stuff I'm kind of telling you, I'm probably going to move quite quickly through now, but it is a bit hazy. So yeah, so got into the routine of not going back to where I lived at the end of the day because I was getting that anxious about going back. No good, especially considering at the time I was going for my GCSEs. Basically, if you don't know what they are in different countries, or if it's changed by now, it's when you're like leaving school about 15, 16, about that age. It's the grades that you need to get into college. So could have happened at a better time, to be honest. Never, preferably, but anyway, neither here nor there. So there was an atmosphere, and it started getting nasty. Not nasty in the sense that they were horrible. It was just awkward all the time, and apparently it come out that they thought that I did it. They told my nan and granddad, his mum and dad at the time, that I did it. And the news got back to me. I think my dad might have told me, I'm not 100% sure. Again, a bit hazy at this point, but point being, it got back to me that they thought it was me. I think there was, because the house that I was staying at had, you had to put in a key number so that you could leave the house or come back in, and the alarm would go off, and it's one of those laser sensors to detect movement. Apparently, I think they changed that. Pretty sure they did. And it was like, well, how the hell am I supposed to get in the house when no one's there? I come back from bloody. Sorry, my rabbit's down here at the moment. Um, yeah, how the hell am I supposed to be getting back from school? I'm supposed to be studying. Not just that, it's your freaking nephew, man. Really? And I started to break down, get the waterworks going. I don't mean that in oh, well, I was just getting on the waterworks. I was getting into a pretty bad place. And it actually got to the point where my granddad told my uncle, look, what freaking proof do you have? What proof do you have? Um, I think they said something to him. I wasn't privy to this conversation, but apparently they said a few things, and it's all circumstantial. So what is happening is someone is making their teenage nephew who hasn't even left school, who's trying his hardest to get good grades so he can get into college and all the rest of it. What you're hearing there is my rabbit starting to play with his toys and throwing them about. And sorry for the skin, but here he is. Yeah, here's my little buddy. Here's the guy that later on saved my life, but that's a story for another video. There you go. Anyway, so regardless, the tension was still there, and eventually it got to the point where I didn't want to go back at all. My dad at this point felt uncomfortable, and just don't want to be there anymore. And I says, look, the house is still being worked on. I think there's a couple of rooms where we're able to live. No electricity or anything, so we'd have to buy fresh food. Sorry, not fresh food, tin food or whatever. Stuff that we could use but didn't necessarily have to cook. So there was like powdered milk if we needed it or whatever. So, me and we lived on it when we did. By I think the last couple of weeks that we were there, oh, this is funny, by the way. This is hilarious. So they were going on holiday for a couple of weeks and thought, okay, we'll just use Nigel and his dad to take care of the house while away. Considering recent history, I was appalled at that. My nan and granddad talked me into it, and they said, look, just think of it this way: you're in a house that's nice and comfortable, and they're not there. Okay, fine, they're not there, but I'd wish this situation would have been actually helped and they'd actually man up and actually speak to a kid and say, look, let's bygones be bygones, but whatever. So we took care of the house. I didn't want to stay there. There's too much. I hated it. Even though they weren't there, I just didn't want anything to do with the place. So when they finally got back, the day before they did, I basically had already packed my stuff up, got to the other house, and before they got there, I was already out. Didn't want it. Made me sick to my stomach. The only good thing about it was that the house that I grew up in, it's literally around the corner from where I went to school, so that's a good thing. And we were there until people started moving back in. We got the decorations done, painted the rooms, put wallpaper up, and all the rest of it. So, yeah. And I think... Okay, so later on, which I'll explain, maybe not in this one, but in the next video, is there was a point of no return, but the last warning sign, I guess, the last red light, was about a week or two after we all moved back in properly. So what we used to do every week on a Tuesday or whatever it was, myself, my uncle, who had a car, and the uncle who I had to live with for a bit, and another uncle, sometimes he'd tag along. And we go to the cinema, go see a movie, which was great. I loved that. It really was the highlight of my week. I get to have some time with my uncles, joke around with them, chat about the movie that we've seen, play a few games when we're there. Like, when you put a coin into the slot and you're able to play video games. I had that at the movies, and oh my god, heaven. complete heaven. So we did that. And the first time it happened, I had shotgun seat, and the bad uncle, now that I call him. Actually, I use stronger words, but for the sake of YouTube, bad uncle. He was sitting behind me, and there was some kind of joke or quiff or something about the uncle that was driving. Um, and he looked at me, give me this look as if to say, yeah, that's funny, isn't it? Like, as if nothing happened over the last 6 months. That never happened at all. And I thought, since then, not a word of apology. Okay, that might. Now, I am finding it extremely difficult to be devil's advocate here, but I'm going to say this. The only way that would have been okay is if that was his way of trying to build a bridge. But you know what? I haven't really gone into as much detail as I probably should do in this video, in these videos. Mainly because it was so long ago and some of the stuff I can't remember. I remember the big stuff. And for someone who was, I'm going to guess, late 30s, early 40s at the time, not so much as a, look, don't care now whether you did or didn't. I'm really sorry that all this stress has come on you. I'm so sorry, and let's just move on. Be the adult. I can't remember if I mentioned this in my last video. It came to pass that one of the watches suddenly appeared. That was it. That's the point where I broke down. So one of the watches appeared, and my dad or someone said to me that so they told my grandparents that they thought I felt guilty about it, maybe, and returned one of them. Now that says to me, oh my god, my friends never did it. There was that. Look, no matter how much good of friends you are in that situation, you wouldn't be 100%. No matter as much as they're your best friend in the whole world, you'd still have that seed in your head. And after that, I was like, because no one had gone into the house since, it wasn't my friends. And I felt so guilty about bringing that. Again, I've used stronger words. Taking that woman, if you can call her that, to my friends and say, have you stolen from me? I can bet you any money in the world today she set the whole damn thing up. So yeah, they said that, and I thought to myself, this situation is just getting worse, and it's just going to get worse and worse and not going to get any better. And it seemed to be spiraling, and I was starting to really break down. Not to the point of mental breakdown, but I was getting close at freaking 15 years old to have that about something so stupid. A couple of freaking watches. I'd have just asked for the freaking money. Yeah, the blood is boiling a bit now. So yeah, there was no apologies, no let's bygones be bygones. There was just okay, that never happened, and let's have jokes, everything's back to normal again. No. Absolutely not.